Hey guys, it's SummerShow001 back at it again with the video games, and back at it again with Destiny 2, and this is about the TWAB that we got yesterday. So this regards the future of Destiny 2 and some more stuff, particularly with gear and what's going to be going on with gear. So I have extensive notes that I'm going to be reading off of. So I have all these notes that I'm going to be reading off of. So the first order of business, I guess, is that we're going to have changes to Infusion. Now, I have some excerpts from the actual TWAB itself. So this is what Bungie was saying. So we want the sandbox to feel interesting, exciting, and dynamic, and to evolve in compelling ways over time. Season over season, we want players to discover new weapons that feel powerful, have interesting new perks to explore, and power the builds that players craft in new, unexpected ways. They also want to allow players to more frequently earn and enjoy more powerful or standout gear, particularly like ritual weapons or stuff like that, which makes sense. That's stuff that makes sense. It's honest and it's true. So, and basically what they're saying with the new infusion is if the new weapon is better than the current best in class, then they risk power creep. If it's too bad, then if it's not good, then best in class, then no one's gonna use it. So that you kind of have a bad thing going on here where you can't make it better than what's already the best because you risk what they call power creep, which is basically making the game less challenging in general. But if you make it too like not as good or like too basic or average, then no one's going to use it, which is what's been going on for the last couple of seasons now. There are weapons that no one uses because it's not better than Recluse or Izanagi's Burden or Outbreak, at least when those were huge. There's already the best in class and no one wants to suffice for anything lower than the best in class. So I understand where they're coming from. So basically, what they're saying is each new legendary piece of gear will now have a max power level, uh, which is fine. I'm fine with that. That includes armor as well. So armor and weapons will now have a max power level for the season. Um, it's for that particular season, and there's no worry. It it will stay throughout the year. You'll have it throughout the whole year, so that's fine. So that way you still have your gear. You don't have to switch from season to season to season. So it's always gonna be brought up every season. It's all the max power level of the gear from the previous season will be brought up to match at least for the whole year, and then it's sunset. Then you don't use those weapons for when the next year starts. So that makes sense. And people are like, "Oh, that's sunset weapons." Well, we had it in Destiny 1, and it worked just fine. So it's not really that big of a problem, in my opinion. I actually like this better because it gives people a wider range. It's actually fixing some of the problems that I brought up in some of the other videos where it you don't want to feel like stuff is being crammed down your throat. You want stuff to feel rewarding, to do everything in the game. You want everything to be rewarding, and it looks like with this it will be, and we'll get onto that a little later. Now, here's one that I'm actually happy about, and this is one that makes sense. Exotics will not have a max power level. That is good because, and of course, that's different because it's a separate type of gear. It's the most powerful gear you can get. It makes sense not to have a max power level because that means exotics won't be used at all, and we don't want that. That stinks, and especially most of the exotics that we have that just makes no sense. You can't do that. It's not something that's easily done. So that makes sense that you keep exotics out of that. They're exempt. So that includes armor, weapons, anything. So that's good. That's really good. That's something that I was afraid of when they mentioned this. So this is where they said max power level for these items will be set at the player power cap attainable 3 seasons after its release season. So like I said, this means it'll last throughout the whole year. They also said raid gear will have a higher max power level overall. Good, because I know people. That's what people were scared of when they mentioned this a little back. Now they're elaborating on it, and it's good. Our raid gear will be higher. It won't be the worst anymore. It won't be as bad as everything else. which is good because it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be special gear. It's supposed to be the best gear that isn't exotics. So that helps. That helps a lot. It's way better. It's a ton better. It's good. I like that. So now they talk about season 12, which will be year 4, the beginning of year 4, the fall expansion. So season 12, there will be no more fourth rotating, like a rotating fourth mod. You can now use mods throughout the whole year. So every seasonal mod, you don't have to keep rotating mods every year, which means you don't have to rotate armor or hoard armor from previous seasons, which is not the best. It's the most undesirable. So this is the best. This is one of the best ways you could do that. So now you could put whatever mods you want for the whole year, depending on the seasons, which I do prefer. But that won't be introduced until year 4, so we're not getting it next season. So we're also not next season. Also, in the year 4, we will be getting transmogrification. If you don't know what transmog is, that is basically you can make your armor look like whatever you want it to. So I appreciate that. It's just a purely cosmetic thing. So we have that in addition to them stripping out most of Eververse, which is good. So there's that. They also mentioned how some people were wondering what happens if there's gear from the past. What will we be able, like, will stuff be raised to max power level later, like older pieces of gear? And they said not directly, but they will be reissuing some stuff. And they said gear that is reissued will have a new max power level, so it won't be the one from last year. That's if there's stuff getting reissued. I do know, I believe with next season we are getting, it's either next season or season 12, we are getting some gear back from Season of Undying, Season of Dawn, and Season of Worthy. So that'll end up pretty good. So I'm happy with that. All right, so that's all that has to do with Infusion. Now we're gonna get on to stuff for next season. So they mentioned something called REDACTED Engrams. So we don't know the name for this. It's all about next season. So it's basically these redacted engrams will allow season rewards to drop from core activities, which is awesome. It gives people more of a reason to do straight up whatever they want. They can now do strikes, gambit, whatever you want to do with redacted engrams, which I think is just the best. I think it's great. Now, they also mentioned that you can use these to create something called focus engrams, and focus engrams will basically only contain season 11 armor, so you can kind of choose what you want. Uh, so what they mentioned with the focused with when you focus these engrams, you only get only only season sorry only season pass owners will get the full suite, as they call it. All players will get 3 focusing categories, so you can choose 3 categories. But if you have season pass, you'll have all of these listed here. It's a pretty long list, so bear with me. So we have redacted and redacted. So we're getting 2 new activities in this next season. They're both redacted. There was also public events, strikes, gambit, crucible, dungeons, raids, adventures, nightmare hunts, forges, reckoning, menagerie, escalation protocol, and the blind well. So all of those activities, which are considered core activities, which are considered activities that people use or play in all the time, those are now able to you're now able to get more rewarding gear, and you can use those as focusing categories, which I think is a ton better. It makes all of the other seasonal stuff that we don't do anymore matter. Forges, Gambit Prime. Although I'm not sure if, because they didn't mention Gambit Prime specifically, I wondered if Gambit is in that whole thing of Gambit Prime. But they mentioned all of that. Dungeons, which is good. We only have 2 dungeons in the game, and they're still played. People still like playing them, so they're still played. But stuff that's not played anymore, like Menagerie, Forges, Blind Well, maybe Escalation Protocol, is still being done. Those now have a new added meaning, and I like that. This is what I meant by Bungie needs to make your older content matter more without cramming it down your throat. This is exactly what I had in mind with stuff like this, and it's literally one of the best things I've ever heard. So that's everything that we know that's coming in the future. Honestly, I think Destiny's got a bright future. I think this is way better. And I mentioned in the other video that the Fellwinter's Lie quest got updated, so now it's fixed. Thank God, because last I checked, EDZ is now in the 70%, and we got 3 and 4% for the other two. So as long as EDZ is done, the rest will go back up. So this will be pretty good. I'm pretty happy. So with the future, and we'll find out more in the next couple of weeks when season 11 starts. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and apagando las luces.